Hello, class. It's Professor Rourke here. I wanted to make a quick video walking through some of the highlights of our Canvas course and my math lab to hopefully save you some time, especially if you haven't ever taken an online class on Canvas or used my math lab. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start out by sharing what our Canvas course should look like. So when you open up Canvas on to our Canvas course homepage, this is what you will see. You'll see it says, Welcome to Math 135, start here. So there's a couple of quick links to the modules, also the outline for the class, a link to tutoring, as well as the syllabus. So we're gonna talk about those buttons. You'll also see underneath there, it has essential documents. We'll talk about that. And also the my office hours link and information, exam dates, and questions. So let's go ahead and get started here. So one problem area that we run into often in these online classes is students sort of can miss an assignment or sort of just kind of get into a habit of not really knowing what all assignments are due. So the first option that I wanted to highlight for you is on our Canvas course, there is a to-do list. So the title says to do, and you'll notice there are links you can click directly into everything, including announcements. So if you haven't read an announcement yet, you can click the announcement directly from the to-do list. So that's one option. Another option is following the outline that I emailed to you. And also I have here for you in one of those quick links. Okay, so if you prefer to maybe print something out and have an actual paper copy, you can go through and check off the assignments as you complete them. The good thing about the outline also is that it includes the information about the prerequisites. So I know it can be tricky to keep track of at first, but essentially you need to get a 70% on all interactive assignments and homeworks in order to take the quiz. And then you need to get a 50% in all quizzes to take the tests, the midterm and the final, or whatever test you may have for the courses. If it's a different class that's longer than 8 weeks long. So it's definitely something that you want to take a look at in terms of the guide, this outline. So that's another option. The final option that I wanted to highlight for you as well is the Canvas course calendar. This is actually the one that I typically use the most, especially when I'm trying to write out like the announcements and reminders for the week, especially if you have more than one class going on. I really I like this feature. So let me go ahead and jump over to June. If you are in the calendar and you have, again, different classes, you can turn on and off what class you want to see. I prefer the month view. At the top, there's an option for week, month, and agenda. Agenda is also can be helpful, though. It just lists everything out. So the month view is what I'll take a look at here. And it has all assignments, combination of my math lab and any of the few extra Canvas assignments. You can click directly from the Canvas calendar, which I feel like can be very helpful as well. Also, if it's like a Canvas assignment that you submit, it crosses it off, which some people like that, which is sort of the equivalent of checking off the physical calendar. Okay, so hopefully between the different options of the to-do list or the paper outline, or maybe the Canvas calendar. Those are all three different ways. You can use any combination to keep track of things. Or you can just stick with one. It's totally up to you. Okay, also on our Canvas course homepage is a link to office hours. And so I'm going to send out some information next week. For those of you who are able to pop into my office hours in the first 3 weeks of class, I'm going to add some extra credit. So there's a link here to the Zoom office hours link. Right now I have it set for Tuesday from 10 a.m. to 11 a.m. and Thursday from 4 to 5, but that can change if that doesn't seem to work with a lot of our class. I try to pick something in the morning and in the afternoon to kind of hopefully help students with different types of schedules. But again, you can let me know. Also, here is the link again to the modules. So this is where we're really going to get started is in the getting started module. I feel like it makes sense, right? So the course information begins with a course overview about your instructor, ways to receive support, and materials to print. So a lot of these pieces are just sort of reinforcing information from the syllabus, the things that we really need to know. The materials to print. Includes, I put everything. This is anything you would possibly need to possibly print in out this course. You also don't have to print anything out. You can use like a tablet and take notes electronically or complete the assignments on as a PDF. But also you can print them. So it's sort of up to you depending on what you prefer if you've taken online classes before. So these again are all the materials you would possibly have to print. We have the midterm and final exam formulas and StatCrunch steps, all of the guided notes from chapters 1 through 11, the 2 test reviews, and this midterm test corrections form. So those are everything that you would possibly need to print. So hopefully just having it all there can be helpful for you to decide how you want to do that. And then these 4 assignments and then an optional one are the getting started assignments that just sort of make sure that we're all on the same page and we understand the main essential pieces of this class. Okay. So what I want to take a look at now is some of the helpful features in MyLab. So one thing that can be sort of tricky in the beginning of an online class is MyLab access and just sort of getting used to the program if you haven't used it before. So one thing that's important is you want to try to use either Edge or Chrome as your browser. We've had some issues with Safari and Firefox. So you also have to like enable pop-ups and all that kind of thing. So definitely give yourself enough time to sort of get started and make sure you can open up MyLab correctly. So we always have 2 options when trying to access your MyLab assignments. So one of the options, well, probably a few more if you really think about it, but one of the options is you can click directly from your to-do list or also your Canvas course calendar. So I'll go ahead and pull up the Canvas course calendars to kind of show you, but you can also do this from your to-do list. So any of the MyLab assignments, if you'd like to, let me go ahead and again jump over to June. We're technically right on the last day of May here, so that's why nothing's popping up. But let me go ahead and just pick one, this first interactive assignment that we're going to do. So you need to do the interactive assignment first. That's like the equivalent of a lesson. And that's where you're going to take notes on your guided notebook. So I can go ahead and click from the Canvas course calendar, the 1.1 interactive assignment, and then I can select the title up the top, the blue title, and say click the interactive assignment. I do have to click open Pearson again. But once I do all of that, that just pulls me directly to the assignment that I want to work on. Okay, so I can click start assignment. And again, and there's a lot of information. Hopefully the Getting Started module helps explain it as well. The guided notebooks go along with these interactive assignments. It's like the equivalent of sort of like taking notes in a lecture class. You don't have to worry about, don't like stress out about writing every single thing down. These are really just to kind of show that you've gone through everything, that you understand the examples, and also that you read the notes that I included in there. Spoiler alert, I'm like, use StatCrunch in 95% of everything. But in the beginning, it's a lot of vocabulary. Okay, so you'll watch the video that it says in your guided notebook. It's the video here, and you'll jot down you'll answer some of the questions that they ask you in the guided notebook. Okay, so once you have completed the interactive assignment, again, you technically need a 70% on the interactive assignment. All of these problems, however, you can always select to try another example. So even though you only need a 70%, really for any interactive assignment and homework, you can get 100% just by trying the examples over again. And especially in the beginning chapters, I recommend, if possible, to try to inflate your grade a bit and get that 100% kind of easier in an easier way by like, it's just multiple choice and you just have to select the right vocabulary word versus maybe later sections can get a little bit more lengthy. So once you do that, then you'll work on your homework. So that was option 1 for opening up an interactive assignment or anything in MyLab. The other option is from our Canvas course is to select Access Pearson. So this is how you'll actually even enroll in the course the first time. So those same steps are what you can do anytime you want to open up a MyLab assignment. This is especially helpful if you want to kind of just see all of the MyLab assignments all at one time and be able to kind of like work in between there. So if you select the link on the left-hand side for Access Pearson, and then you can click Open Pearson. Sometimes you have to, I feel like you have to click like a million buttons. And then you could click the yellow button for Open MyLab and Mastering. You also could just click the link for like MyLab Stat All Assignments or MyLab and Mastering Course Home. So they're all really going to get you into the same place, but some students just sort of like to jump right to the announcements. It's up to you. Okay, so when you're inside of MyLab, you'll see the whole list of all of the MyLab assignments if you open it up this way. And again, can sort of be helpful just to kind of see them all together. Also, it's not something that we worry about right now, but soon enough, StatCrunch is going to be extremely helpful. It's going to be vital, really, for the second half of class. That's how you want to compute almost all calculations. Later on, they'll say you have an option to do it by hand, or your graphing calculator or StatCrunch. And StatCrunch is typically the quickest, especially in an accelerated course. We have so much to do in a short amount of time. You don't really want to have to waste time. So StatCrunch is going to be the way to do that. So you can open up StatCrunch within a problem, or some students prefer just to open up StatCrunch just to kind of have there. So as you make your MyLab purchase, that includes StatCrunch as well. Okay, so it's all inside there. Okay, so I didn't want to make this video too long, but I wanted to kind of show you maybe one more example of some helpful features. So I'm going to go ahead and jump down to some of the later homeworks just because right now in the beginning, it's a lot of vocabulary, and I really wanted to kind of show you some of the problems maybe where you have to like compute something and kind of like what are some helpful hints there. So I went ahead and jumped to homework 3.2, way out there. And this one says the numbers of regular season wins for 10 football teams is given as season below, determine the range, mean, variance, and standard deviation of the population set, and they give you a set of data. Okay, so again, this is not to chapter 3, so you don't have to worry about it now, but again, I wanted to show you some helpful features. So at the bottom of your screen, you'll see a few different things. Sometimes it also says like more options depending on sort of what your window looks like. But essentially, the help options are help me solve this, view an example, and ask my instructor. Okay, so I do like view an example. It can be very helpful. However, the one problem is view an example is always going to explain to you how to do this by hand. It's not going to give you the StatCrunch steps, which are going to be very helpful. Again, I know not right now for chapter 1 it's not that important, but later on it is. Help me solve this is also helpful, but it's very similar to view an example, except for you have to just like kind of type the numbers in as you go. The ask my instructor is what I wanted to really point out to you. So you want to, any question that you've tried and you're struggling with and you don't know what to do from here, you can go ahead and click ask my instructor. It'll come straight to my email. And then you can say like, I was confused at this step, or I don't know what I did wrong here, something like that. Send it and I can reply back to you, or I can make a video, which can be particularly helpful. Also, again, I know it's not right now, but it's very soon. And whenever you see a blue square next to a set of data, it says click to copy table. You're going to click it, and then you're going to select to open in StatCrunch. So I know StatCrunch, most of you have probably never used it before, and that's totally fine. It's like I feel like a simplified version of Excel. So you'll get to this later on, but for instance, we'll just do summary stats, columns. Again, I know I'm going to get ahead of it, but just so you can see, just by clicking over the blue square, it copies it over, and then you'll just compute what you need to do right in StatCrunch very quickly, versus trying to like write the numbers down and do them by hand. Okay, so again, just a reminder, help me solve this is going to show you and view an example by hand for pretty much the whole course. But I really recommend using StatCrunch, which you can click with the blue square. And also for some of them, like, so for instance, I just clicked another one. If there isn't a raw set of data, you can also click get more help and click StatCrunch that way. Okay. Also, last feature is the questions that you can use StatCrunch for, or a graphing calculator. But again, I really prefer StatCrunch because not everyone has a graphing calculator. If you click Tech Help, okay, so this is the last and final option at the bottom. There's Help Me Solve This and View an Example. Those are by hand. There's Ask My Instructor, which is super helpful. The last helpful feature is Tech Help. So if you open up Tech Help, you'll see it says Technology Step by Step. First, they list the graphing calculator, which again is fine, but really the StatCrunch is going to be the best one. So then the next option below that says Technology Step by Step StatCrunch, numerical measures of center, spread, and location, and it's going to walk you through exactly the steps that you want to use to solve that problem, that particular problem in StatCrunch, which again can be very helpful. Okay, so I think I went through all of the features very quickly. If you are confused about anything, please let me know. These are just things that hopefully you probably would have figured out over time, but if hopefully if I tell them to you now, it'll save you some time and some stress maybe trying to figure everything out. Okay, so just to recap, first, to keep track of assignments, you can use the to-do list or the Canvas course calendar, or you can go the old-fashioned outline, which are all can be found right in Canvas. Okay. Also, you will sign up for tutoring and your first assignment. So whenever you want to access the online tutoring, which have great options, you can just click the tutoring link and that'll take you to both of those options. And as well as my Zoom link. It's all on that Canvas course homepage. Okay. Let me know if you have any questions with the Getting Started module. And I know we just did a quick little rundown of my math lab, talking about all the things going from how to open it. You can open it from the calendar, or you can open it from by clicking Access Pearson and opening it up that way. There is the help me solve this and view an example. Always it's going to show it to you, do it by hand. You can click Ask My Instructor, which I really like, especially to sort of, I can email you back right away. If it's like a more complicated question, I can make a video and send it out to the whole class. And then also Tech Help is really helpful. Okay, so again, I'll send out some information later in the week about if you, again, want to pop into any of my office hours. If you're available, I'm just going to go ahead and reward some extra credit points. You don't have to stay long. You can stay 5 minutes just to see, just to kind of try it out and touch base and things like that. Okay, thank you guys so much. Please let me know however I can help, and I'm looking forward to the semester. Thank you guys.